The following is a presentation of Muddy River News.
Does she have fluffs coming out from her head?
No, I always say, I'm always like, how's my hair? So
I
feel
said,
like,
he just goes, got the fluffs out your head.
No, I didn't say anything about the fluff. You said
She has very zhuzhy hair today, and I think it's beautiful.
It's zhuzhy, and these headphones are zhuzhing them down. It's
I don't know.
There's difference.
That's funny that you asked
What did
that
you just
because
ask? I
what's the
can't hear.
difference between
Zhuzhy and bougie.
and bougie? Here's
Zhuzhy's big, and bougie means...
Here's what I think.
Red lights on, yes.
So zhuzhy, I think, comes from
it?
je ne sais quoi, which is a little more, I think, classier than bougie, maybe. Bougie is like wanting to have je ne sais quoi, or wanting to have that quality, but it's like you're just...
I just thought zhuzhy meant big. It's zhuzhy.
No, it's
And bougie
like
means fancy. Bougie means fancy.
I think bougie means fake fancy.
Want to be fancy.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think je ne sais quoi is like a class
No,
that...
I am bougie, guys,
think-
and
I
I'm
think-
not
Bougie.
fake
Whatever.
You're not
fancy.
fake bougie.
I'm not
Okay.
You're not
fake
fake
fancy.
There's nothing fake about that. No. Anyway. We'll go there.
Well, anyway,
Anywho.
so we were talking about eating corn on the cob. Do you guys like corn on the cob?
Love it.
I do too,
Yeah.
especially with a BLT.
Yep.
Have you ever seen corn on the cob made in a cooler with boiling water?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Where have I been? I feel like I make it on the stove. Do you guys put sugar in yours?
I've had aunts or grandmas or somebody who did that. I usually don't when I make mine.
No.
But
My mom always made it on the stove and boiled it.
Yeah.
Mike
in the
is-
husk?
Oh no.
No.
But Mike
do
does
yours in
the
the husk,
grill,
yeah.
and my new thing though is getting one of those half sticks of butter, and just going to town on it.
Butter's where it's at.
You put the butter on the bread, and then you...
No,
That's how Luke does it, and I
Yes.
thought he was a serial killer.
No, that's
Okay.
how you do it. That's how I...
You put the butter on the what?
bread.
On the bread, and then you
roll
swirl
it
the
in the
corn
bread.
in the bread.
And so it butters
Oh, I'm
your
taking,
bread
I'm
and
taking
your
the stick and just
corn.
going to town.
I know people who do that too. I know people who will put it on like a pad of butter and roll it that way.
So you know the old school butter that you didn't put in the fridge, right? Do you guys fridge your butter?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
You do?
yes, and then we take it out and put it in a butter dish.
Do you know that butter is supposed to be left on the counter, actual butter?
That is-
in a butter dish. And if you're doing it right, you're buttering your corn on that like long butter dish, twirling it.
Right.
Which is not supposed to be refrigerated because it makes it soft. And I'm sure there's some other health reasons or whatever, but yeah.
I'm eating all the butter bacteria,
I love
guys.
butter, man. I
like
love
Irish.
butter.
I buy Irish butter.
What's the difference?
It's creamier.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have
they
to look.
sell
I
it
didn't know
at
there
they
was.
sell it at the stores. It's called Kill Gary or Kill something like that. Yeah.
What do you think about cheese? You got like fancy cheeses?
I just get the Bago cheese.
Yeah, me too.
Bago whatever.
Are you a fancy cheeser?
I mean, sometimes I go to
Luke
we go to Aldi.
He loves the stinkier the better. And I'm like this. What?
I like cheese.
Why would you?
Is Luke trying to just not?
He has. So you know how like the connoisseur, you know how like the wine connoisseurs, when you drink more wine, like the sweeter the wine, it's like makes you sick after a while because you.
Right.
He's like that with cheese. I don't understand it because I'm like, give me Velveeta in a wrapper or whatever you call it.
Right. Kraft
He-
singles.
Boom.
Yeah.
And he loves
Plastic.
no.
That's
He
like,
loves
that's like eating plastic.
He loves like the green block cheese that smells like, I mean, it could knock you out. And I'll
like
try
that too.
it.
I
Do
like it
you?
too,
See,
yeah.
I just can't get on board with it.
Yep.
Now, and if you make me a grilled cheese with that, I will punch you in the face.
I think that
like if you surprise me with that, I'm not having it. Yeah.
I like the stinky cheese. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I actually had something for the first time at Tower last night. I had a a thick cheeseburger pizza. It was really good. I'd never had that before. My
What was on
Ellen
it?
got it. What's like cheese and hamburger?
Pickles and stuff?
No, it was
Oh,
just.
okay.
It was like no, not a Steve Iyer cheeseburger pizza because it had cheese on it, but it had.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna
like
say,
just a
that guy.
cheese. It was
Yeah.
just pizza with like ground beef and extra mozzarella. It was really good. And I was
Do you like sauerkraut on your pizza?
No, I don't like sauerkraut on anything.
love it.
No, I don't want it on my
Sauerkraut?
brat. I don't want it on anything.
All right.
love
I'm
it.
a newbie to sauerkraut, and I like it on everything now. But
Me too.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So tonight, hey, welcome back. This
Thanks.
is super
Good to
fun
be
and
here.
exciting.
Home again.
It is home. I feel like
home. But I'm getting kicked out here shortly.
You
which
are
is
going to get
fine.
kicked out, but I do.
we have-
Yeah, we're glad you're back. Get the F out.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it. That's fine.
Bye.
Sometimes we have to. Sometimes we have to throw in the towel so other people can have the spotlight, which I did last
Oh, I thought
week.
about it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
was it last week?
We're a team,
Yep,
yes.
it was last week.
Josh Jones and David and Brittany. I'm telling you, that podcast, if you haven't listened to it, check it out. It was very
They're always
informative,
there.
fun. It was really cool. I was sitting over there listening to it and kind of, you know me, I like to talk a lot. So all I wanted to do was throw more questions out, not me.
No.
I just wanted to throw more questions out. And one thing I was like, Josh is very involved in the Quincy Humane Society, which not a lot of people may know, but my aunt is super involved. Well, he skirted out on a meeting.
We
and
love Aunt Amy.
I know we do love her, but
I think today's guest is going to be just as good. I think you guys
she's
have
gonna
a lot
be
of
better.
fun.
She's gonna be
I think
better.
you had a lot of fun.
He or she.
No, we're not. No,
We're not doing the
It's
teasers
Casey
We're not
Schnack.
doing the teasers
No,
anymore?
No,
no,
they said
we're not doing the teasers. We're going to let people know because you're going to put the name out there, then people are going to want to watch it. If you put out, hey, guess who our guest is? People are going to. I don't feel like doing it.
I feel like people
But I
would.
think if you say who it is up front, there are more people are going to listen.
I feel like people would be like,
disagree.
"Ooh, I'm intrigued."
Me
Dave-
too.
But
David and I
anyway, that's
agree.
okay.
Fine.
So,
Oh, since David agreed, it's okay. If it was just me, it's like.
all right, I do have one question to
David
ask
agreed.
you guys before we
David.
move on to our guest, who is no surprise, Casey Schnack, who's amazing, by the way. We had the pleasure of meeting her a little bit earlier and having some conversations. I don't think I've ever really had the pleasure of sitting down and chatting with her. Very informative, very fun, very cool individual. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with her here. But before we get to her, I got a couple questions and maybe just one, depending on how much time we have. But Bob, what do you think about this new kind of like feminist movement? And Brittany, I'll ask you the same thing, but I just want to know how a male perspective to, and it can be on any front. Like, I know that you've held doors for me, right? And your wife works, and you're kind of like on a sliding scale, I think. But feminism has kind of, I'll just let you answer. What do you think about it's kind of a movement. Do you think that's true? And how do you feel about it?
Anything a man can do, a woman can do, and women should make the same amount of money that men do when they do the same job.
Boom.
What a politician.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I've felt that way for years.
Yes, I love that.
When I was at a previous job I had, we had a position where we paid the men more than the females. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. We're not going to do that anymore.
Bullshit.
And we stopped.
Yeah.
And we started paying them equally. So.
And
That was a really smooth
It was a
answer.
really good answer, and you could tell it's genuine.
yes.
Because as we spoke about earlier, Bob is nothing if he's not
Yep.
genuine, and he always is genuine.
He's the realest person
That's fair.
there
That's,
can
just,
be.
that's fair. I mean, it's,
Okay, now here's the thing. So I think there is a sliding scale on the feminist front. Like, I love chivalry, and we've talked about this before. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot by saying, "Oh, I need everything a man can have," because then I don't get the perks of being a woman. And
it's stiletto feminism.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, so I think that economically, I agree with feminism. Like, I want to make the same amount of money. I want the same opportunity. Possibly also culturally, like I want that opportunity to have the same platform as a male. And but as far as like, if I'm walking down the street, I want
Chivalry.
Luke to stand in between myself and the street.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
And
I
if
do
you're
that
by
to my
yourself,
kids.
you want a guy to walk by and go, "How you doing?" Depending on how the guy looks.
No.
Yeah, whatever.
Hang
Stop
on.
it.
If I see, here's a fine line, because if I don't get that, I kind of feel like, man, I lost it. I've lost it.
You had a guest
I do
here
get it, I
the other
feel
day
disgusting.
who the first thing
Like, I
right
feel
before you
old.
started talking, he said, "I just need to tell you, you're so beautiful."
Yeah, he did,
And
and
I
I was
thought
like,
you were going to just freaking turn into a puddle.
All right, now let me be full disclosure. He was homosexual.
So
So
It-
that made
it
you,
doesn't- I'm
that
not
made you
grossed
comfortable.
out.
That made you comfortable. If a man
even
down the
said-
street goes, "Hey, pretty baby," that's not
Oh,
something that like a woman like. Yeah, I mean, I guess
okay,
in the
if he
back
looks,
of your head,
if he
you're
looks
like,
like
"Yeah,
Brad
I still
Pitt,
got
though,
it."
I think that matters.
I don't know. It's still uncomfortable.
I guess it depends. I've been hit on by some pretty hot people that don't take the hint, and then it gets uncomfortable. So I guess it's like case by case. But I would say on a grand scale, I do enjoy. I enjoy feeling the attention until it goes too far. And I know there's no way to kind of gauge that individually, but I also don't want to miss out on buying me flowers, opening my door, paying for this, doing, like, I love masculinity. So this whole movement towards toxic masculinity is crap to me, because I think that's what this nation was kind of founded on.
Same.
And I think
A
another
man being a man.
Well, that leads into something that I know you guys are going to talk about with Casey, is the fact that while I believe that's all equality, all well and good, I still think we should have separate sports for men and women, and men should not be competing in women's sports.
Duh.
I mean, that's just,
It's insane.
That makes no sense to me.
It's insane.
It really is.
It's like,
you
oh,
guys
I suck.
I'm
I suck
gonna
at
let
this.
you guys talk about that, and
Yeah.
especially Casey, because she was a Division I athlete, so
Yes.
she has great perspective on
Yeah.
this. So I'm going to go do a couple of technical things and get things ready, and you're going to let Casey come in.
Yeah.
And then why don't you guys talk for a bit and then pitch out of it, and then I'll come at the end and help you say bye. Do you want to do that?
That sounds great.
That sounds good.
All right.
All right. We'll be
Bravo.
back.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
Welcome to the Abbey, a Quincy tradition. With 6 big screens, a new larger kitchen, and now more seating capacity, the Abbey is the place to be before, during, and after the big game. Come enjoy fan favorite appetizers, steaks, burgers, and a variety of daily food and drink specials. Can't join us? Carryout is available too. Now with a convenient drive-up window to better serve you. 1736 Spring in Quincy. Opens at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Come join all your friends at the Abbey, a Quincy tradition.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
And welcome back. Of course, this segment is brought to us by the Liquor Booth. And as opposed to the last podcast we did,
This is a little more on our page.
This is on my
on
level.
budget.
It's on my level. So Josh Jones, of course, loved what, bourbon, whiskey. I don't even know the
Whiskey.
difference.
Bougie whiskey
Yeah.
is what Bob described
And
it.
Brittany did try to make, was it old fashions?
Yes.
Which were fantastic, by the way, but just
you.
not my style. This is more my
mine
style.
either.
Vodka is,
Same.
yeah.
However, Ashley tried her first vodka club.
Unbeknownst to Brittany and I.
Yes, yeah. In
I thought I was gonna be a cool
green
kid.
room at one of our our favorite establishments, and it was probably the best thing. Like, I really wish we could have captured that.
She
on
said,
camera.
I wish we could have caught that on camera because my face was basically like this.
She had no idea what I guess a vodka
terrible.
club
Tasted
consisted of.
like.
I guess I have never had club soda on its own. It's just kind of boring and blah,
Yeah,
kind of
that's
bitter a little bit.
Well, anyway,
That's what the lemon's
Yeah.
for.
Liquor booth. That's where we get our Tito's. What, Casey? You told me that you had another favorite vodka from there.
Oh, new. It's actually the cheaper version of
Okay.
Tito's.
It's called
and
New?
New,
That's a
N-U-E.
cool name.
It's fabulous,
All right.
and it tastes wonderful with Pepsi, actually, Ashley. So,
Okay.
if you don't
Yep.
want the Tito's, spring for the New.
That's
Okay.
the one you take to the house party.
and if you don't like
You're like,
vodka, the Busch Light Peach,
I
man.
love Busch Light
It's
Peach.
phenomenal.
I have a whole garage fridge full of that.
I'm coming over to your house.
I've only had one sip of one time, and it was from Casey.
really good.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't
really
bad.
Not bad.
I could do it.
All right, so I will say, I think this is the first 3 female, like Tres Amigas.
Tres Amigas.
Right? Podcast.
Ay, ay, ay.
So it's bound to be amazing. Also, we have a lot to talk about. Of course, Casey Schnack is a female attorney. I hate to say female, but of course we owe her that because
Yes.
that's freaking awesome.
Being
in Adams
female
County,
isn't easy.
it's not. It's really not.
There you go.
Let's
So
just throw it
many
out there.
rules.
There's so many
So
rules.
many rules.
Well, there's not just rules, but it's like I saw this thing and it was like, if men made up the like the maternity leave or whatever it was, it would be like your whole career would be based around it because men would have to deal with that, right? So I'll just skirt over that. But
Yeah.
women are very, very, very freaking strong.
Badass.
We
right?
are badass. And it's unfortunate that we have to find our way. We have had to climb our way because behind every great man is a stronger female. Females are just, we're just badass.
Built differently.
We are.
I
differently.
don't like having to, like, I don't want to beat down the male. to
No, I
show
love-
Not at all.
To
I
show
love
how
men.
strong, we like our men.
We don't have to beat
But-
them down.
I don't want to,
You know, I think the best compliment to femininity is masculinity. And I
Exactly.
have tons of appreciation for both. And there's
Yes.
places for both.
Yes.
It's like you can't see the sun without the clouds, and you can't, like there has to be an opposite. There has to be an opposite reaction to every. You know what I mean? Like there has to be an opposite thing. Otherwise, you
reaction to the
right?
opposite.
Yeah, you know what I'm
can't think
saying.
of the
Yeah.
For
science
every
thing.
action,
Where's
there's
the
an equal and opposite reaction.
Thanks, Bill Nye.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is true. So I think that all of and we'll get into more of this because I think we all have very strong opinions on this, but being three strong women in a room gives us a really strong platform. Of course, before we get into that, we definitely want to touch on what everybody's been talking about recently, which is a high profile case. And I know that there are things that you may not be able to talk about or may not feel comfortable talking about.
Because we are on the preface of the actual
sentencing.
sentencing.
Yeah. So if you feel like
You get to
we're
buzz
gonna-
out.
Yeah, just buzz it
No
out.
problem. I'll tap out.
Okay, but I do want to ask a couple questions, a lot pertaining to, of course, the case itself, the appeals, you being a female in the courtroom, which props, dude. I mean, I don't even know how else to say it. I couldn't
You
do
always
your job.
say, well, I always hear you say, like when I'm like, that takes balls.
It
And you're
does.
like, no, that
it takes ovaries.
And
Takes
that
ovaries,
is
baby.
kicking hard,
Yeah.
especially
Because-
for me today. But anyway,
listen.
I'm saying like that is a thing. That is something that like is
I'm
to
not
be said.
downplaying men.
No, we're not.
But I'm
like,
saying in a male dominated industry, which I've grown up in, which you've clearly grown up in, which you've had taste of, it is a little different.
yes.
And I'm not saying that like poor me. It's like,
No.
give me another challenge. I'm gonna
Yeah.
step on that and
My
keep
ovaries
going,
will
but-
take
They will
this
take this.
on.
Yeah. So
And
when people say you have balls, those things get hurt really easily. I feel.
Too. They're so
Yeah.
sensitive,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, ovaries can take a punch.
Yes.
100%, sister.
I like it.
All right, so just to kind of not get this out of the way, but I know everybody's interested in it. So can you walk us through kind of how you were feeling? Okay, first, you knew Tim.
I
As
knew
his-
as his attorney, as his divorce attorney, I knew Tim. I never had I had a professional relationship with him. Never really knew him or Becky personally.
Okay.
No. I had heard about them, but never had met them personally.
Okay, gotcha. And so as a defense attorney, he called you, or wait,
At that point, I was just his divorce attorney when
Okay.
Becky died.
okay. So how did he reach out to you?
So I do not make my cell phone number public. I do not give it to clients, and I do not give it to
So he was a
people.
client of yours.
He was a client of mine. He didn't have my personal
Gotcha.
phone number. He didn't know where
and
I
he didn't
lived
even
or
have
anything.
your Facebook technically,
Yeah,
right?
we weren't friends on Facebook. We had no contact on social media.
Probably the best
It was
way.
a Thursday. It was February 23rd. It was a normal Thursday for me. I went to work. I got home. I was playing with my 5-year-old. I think we were jumping on the trampoline. We went inside for dinner, and I checked my phone, and I had a ridiculous number of missed calls and text messages and messenger messages, and I was getting through all of them, and I got one from Tim's Facebook that said that Becky had passed away, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's,
And
it's,
so
it's in shock.
Yeah, in shock. And he had made several calls to even try to get my personal number, and it took him 2 hours to get a hold of me. After he had found out about it. So I found out about all of this from Tim.
Weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I mean, okay, so of course we're talking about the Tim Bliefnick, Becky Bliefnick, Becky Postal. If anybody knows, well, I'm sure everybody knows, but
Everybody listening.
yeah, we don't want to like harsh on it, but this is so wild to me because you think, well, I'm just going to say it.
You think you know someone?
you just never expect something like this to happen. And I can't imagine being a defense attorney or I can't imagine being anyone in this, involved in this and thinking, I knew this was going to happen. Or, this just doesn't happen. So,
it doesn't.
And it
doesn't happen with.
It's not race.
What we were saying.
It's not class.
Before.
It's just
something that happens.
Shit that happens, man.
Shit that happens.
But what was so shocking though, not to these
measures, not to this extent, not in Quincy,
insane.
Illinois.
And also, I guess I don't want to say, but I'm gonna say these, like, what made it high profile, and it sucks, but it is what it is. These kinds of, or these type of people,
what do you think made this high profile? Do you think it was the type of person that Tim was, or do you think it was Family Feud? Because
it's not Family Feud.
Oh, I do think that's what made it national. That's what.
I think.
Well, that's what hit it national.
Locally, I think it was. For me personally, and this is all I can speak about because I don't know what anybody else is thinking, but I went to college with Tim. I worked at the Abbey with Becky. Mm-hmm. They were, by all means,
community people,
kind of a happy family.
Yeah,
or so I thought.
Had it all together,
or just like. You just don't expect this. You just don't expect it.
And it's a lot easier to accept this when it's somebody that's a dirtbag. Somebody that you look as a low life, somebody that's a career criminal. It's not the guy that owns the gym that dresses up as the Grinch at Christmas and volunteers in his community. It's not that guy. This would not have the attention that it had if this had
been a dirtbag. Had it
been
which I like that
a dirtbag,
just a piece of shit.
Yep.
Yeah. If this was a piece of shit, this would not be in the headlines. It would be another trial and another dirtbag going to prison.
Insider edition doing his Family Feud thing, and no, I don't think it had to do with Family Feud. I think that was just a.
I think that was
a tagline.
That was the clickbait.
That was like a knock. That was like a knock on their like headboard. That was like, oh yeah.
But had that not happened, do you think that this would have hit national?
How unfortunate though that he said that.
But it was the second most common answer. He rocked that answer. And so if you look at like the purpose of why they were there, he kicked ass.
I know.
Yeah.
And this idea that this was some premonition is insane
disgusting.
to me.
It's
and that's just like you said, it's clickbait and it's to sell ads and to get clicks.
What crime?
Which is what crime has become, is a commodity.
Yes.
We eat the shit up. I'm guilty of it. I have my podcast. I have my shows. I watch them all.
Time out. What are your favorites? What are your favorites?
My favorite podcast is Morbid. I listen to it on Spotify. They're two girls from Massachusetts, and they kick ass. Okay. Ashley and Elena, those are their names. Hey, weirdos.
Shout out, weirdos.
But those are two girls that are kicking ass and taking names on the true crime podcast
I'm
world.
that one in my book.
So do they just go around and find all these true? They do the.
They just
Bliefnick
tell
case?
No, they haven't done the Bliefnick case that I am aware of, but they have done.
I think you would be aware of it.
Oh, definitely. I would imagine so, but
true crime though.
But it's all over the place.
Yes,
locally
there are Netflix shows. There are.
But it all
Dateline, 48 hours.
But that's what it started from. Is
advertising.
48 hours, Dateline. I think
2020. All those shows.
Those things are.
I think it's human nature.
That.
We want to, as humans, we want to see the darker side of human nature.
There's a podcast and a show,
and there's money to be made.
Exactly,
money to be made.
She's like what she said. It's a commodity. But so 48 Hours and Dateline have both been here.
Yeah.
Can you speak anything about that, or we have to wait and see?
You're going to have to wait and see what they air. I don't even know what they've edited or put together. I spent 3 hours with 48 Hours, which was the quickest 3 hours of my life.
Because you're with my crush.
Most intense. Erin, she's a badass. Yes. 3 hours with her.
She might be, I don't know, in her older. But I'm still crushing hard because
she's
how old is she now?
I'm not even going to ask.
I don't know.
I'm not going to guess.
I think
we'll say 60s or 70s. Yeah, either way, she's a badass.
She's been doing this for 40 years, and she's like the type of person that she follows up on stories that are 30 years old.
She doesn't let go of cases.
No.
She follows them to the end.
Yes.
So if there's anything more to be had out of the Bliefnick case, I trust she's going to do it.
Okay.
And she's going to do it justice, and she's going to do a kick-ass job.
All right, so speaking about, and I said I wasn't going to harsh on the Bliefnick case, but it's just so interesting. Okay, so
Sorry.
We all know that he is planning to appeal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody in his position would appeal.
Of course.
Anybody.
Do you know on what grounds?
Well,
And
we
is
have
that
filed a
common knowledge?
post-trial motion.
Okay.
A lot of that has to do with the hearsay statements that came in, all of the witnesses that came in and said, Becky told me if anything happens to me, Tim did it. And that was a ruling that Judge Adrian gave us, which was basically an expansion of the Drew Peterson case, which I don't know if you girls remember
Yeah,
the
I
Drew
do.
Peterson case. That asshole's in prison in
I'm a
Indiana.
follower.
And so that law was really created for the purpose of Drew Peterson. And letting that hearsay in. There were also statements that were made in respect to, Tim being a Hall of Fame football player in closing statements. That was never introduced as evidence in trial.
Did he get?
He got
Like,
kicked out of the
kicked
Hall
out
of
of
Fame.
that,
Yeah, so we got the official email that he was kicked out.
Will that play part in that?
No,
then?
absolutely not. I kind of equate that to Reggie Bush not having his Heisman. You can't take away the accomplishment. He still did what he did.
Yes,
So
I'm
if you want to
sorry.
kick him out of the Hall of Fame, kick
sorry.
him out of the Hall of Fame. But that doesn't
Listen,
change what he did as an athlete.
If I high jump
I do
over
agree.
15 feet,
You high jumped over 15
Okay.
feet, and you can't take that
I would
away.
never do that.
Speaking of
but-
athletes, as you see, okay, in the background here, we have a slideshow going, right? We have the same slideshow, not the same slideshow.
Not only is she a badass in the
way
courtroom.
different slideshow. Yeah, not only is she a badass in the court, but you're a badass athlete too.
In a former life, I was. Yes, absolutely.
But a proponent of one of these slides that are coming up here, it's
Riley Gaines.
Riley Gaines.
And
Always
that
explain-
bitch is shaking shit up for
Okay.
women's sports. Let me tell you what. So she took second place in the NCAA championships to Leah Thomas. And she didn't take that lightly.
Okay, and again, just to enlighten our viewers, Leah Thomas is
A transgender swimmer that transitioned from male to female. Leah was an athlete at the University of Pennsylvania, originally recruited as a male that transitioned, I think, over the course of 1 year to female and went from a low-level Ivy League athlete, which, let's be real, Ivy League does not get the best of the best as far as athletes are concerned, to the best in the NCAA in 1 year. And let's be real.
Yep.
You don't.
I got lots to say.
You don't
I
climb
know
that
she
far
does.
that
I know.
fast.
I'm trying to
And
say
Riley Gaines was not a sore loser. She called out on what was wrong. And there's actual movement happening because she is standing up for what is right and what is wrong. And I think she is kicking ass right now.
Before we say anything,
Okay.
I want to preface that we can hold a thought or a idea, and we are not bigots. Just because we decide that we want to maybe talk about this, like what we're talking about right now, does not make us bigots against transgender or anything like that. Just, again, like what we talked about.
think
maybe
I'm just
the same
talking
thing.
about facts right
Yes,
now.
but
You
like
know, and
we're
let
riding
people
a train.
decide what
we're
they
riding
want.
a train.
But I think it's almost the opposite.
We're writing
I'm
it-
very. I don't consider myself a feminist, but I do.
But you hold a lot of feminist ideals.
hold.
I think we all do.
I think we all. I don't
True.
think as
At least
strong,
all of us in this
I think as
table
strong
do.
women, none of us want to identify as feminists because of what the social stigma is like
Yeah.
to be a
I'm not
feminist.
phobic.
But I think when it comes down to brass tacks, I hold more feminist ideals than I don't.
Feminists started like it almost. If you were a feminist, you have to hate
Men
and
and masculinity, and that's not the
us.
case.
And that's not
Also,
us.
this
I don't
like
think.
ideal of transphobic. I'm not scared of you or
No,
your
same.
ideals.
I
Just stay in your own lane.
I feel
exactly.
Here's how I feel
I'll
about the
embrace you.
entire thing. You'll never have to be scared around me. I'll never make you feel uncomfortable. However, if you come at me as you're a birthing person, please don't expect me to accept your
Ideals.
alternative genders or something. You know, like it's a very you can be you, but let me be me as well. But also on the same token, like don't discount how awesome we are as freaking women. I mean,
especially when you have to bleed 1/4 of the month, and like
it's just not fair.
No, it's really
honestly,
not.
It's just
I'm
not
sorry.
fair.
I had a bad day today.
He's got feelings about
It's just not fair because as a scientific, biologic female, I got the short end of the stick.
I did too.
I'm not lying.
Like where the point where what we were saying, I don't know where it was, but like the crazy, like things get crazy in your head sometimes. If you don't have to, I mean, I guess never mind. Everyone experiences crazy in their head, but I mean on a hormonal,
on a regular
level
monthly basis.
On a regular monthly basis.
on your period.
I know. I can't. I
I can.
What? I
That's
do.
like blaming your crazy
do.
on not taking your medication.
So here's the
Well, I
thing.
don't have medicine that I'm taking, or I mean, I probably should, but I don't know.
But here's the-
I
but-
will blame it on.
But
I think that's
but the essence is, as a male, you have never had to insert
what
a
those.
tampon.
No, but not just that. They're.
You've never had to
hormonal.
birth a baby, which breaks 27 bones in your body at the time, right? So you haven't earned it, is what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
haven't earned, and I do truly feel that women are we're the shit, man. We
gender.
are.
Say that before
Because-
about the ball. Like Casey
I can
has
give
balls,
life and I can take
but
life.
We,
you know,
we
make
say,
your choice.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, and I'm not discounting men because I do love what they bring to the table because I love a man. I love a man who...
A man's man.
I love a man who appreciates...
And you were
masculine
talking about
women.
chivalry with somebody that's going to open your door and somebody that's going to take the check and somebody that's going to stand in between
And
you
if you
and
say
traffic.
that, if you
But that
say
doesn't mean that I want to make less than him because I do feel like there is a need for economical feminism, but I don't think feminists need to be so extreme that they're like, well, now we have balls. No,
Yeah.
I don't have balls.
You can't say also the whole you can have your cake and eat it too. Like, you know, like I feel like men say that sometimes where you say, I want the chivalry, but I also want
But men
equality.
also want the same thing. They want a strong woman to be their sugar
but
mama.
not so strong that
Yes,
she
but not so strong that-
demasculates them.
Right? See? So it's
Which
the same thing.
is-
So it's
But
a
I think-
balancing act
I think we
between
can
genders.
come to the table.
Honestly, that's what I know. You guys think that this Barbie movie is like straight liberal propaganda. Probably, maybe, I don't know.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, listen.
No, I don't really give a
I
shit.
had Mike go, and you know,
Did
I
you
think
tell him he was going to see
Listen,
Oppenheimer?
that
You
was-
tricked him, didn't
that
you?
was a joke. It was a joke. He knew what he was seeing,
Okay.
but he was the only one in the group that didn't wear pink, which that's fine. Make your stance.
Mike.
But he said, and I do totally agree with him, for like people to be like, brush it off as this is a liberal movie pushing an agenda. It's all about perspective. It really is showing the man as kind of how the
Women have been procreate, like
Yes,
women have been portrayed
been
for years and years.
programmed
Hang on,
to
hang on though.
portray
Hang
that.
on,
So he's
but
the
I-
Stepford husband.
Yes, and that's
Hang on,
not
though.
okay though. Let's
Hang
not,
on, because I saw a different perspective, which is totally interesting, and it was like they're grooming by introducing, like, so you're taking a child's thing, right, and you're introducing
Agreed.
adult,
But it's PG-13.
adult
I
theories.
think you're thinking
So,
too
I
much
don't know.
into the Barbie
I'm
movie
not.
at
But
that point.
PG-13 for a reason, and also, like, again, all about perspective. Can you look at them like,
But I think everybody looks
Whatever.
into everything too deep. So I guess my, I don't know, my advice would be just go see the movie or don't.
yeah, I don't
don't
know.
give a shit.
I do like the overall message, though, in the end, if you actually listen to the movie. And, you know, I don't know, it was a little difficult for me because I may or may not have partook in an edible that made it harder to focus.
It's great.
But it is, you're enough as a person. It doesn't matter, like, you do not need to have a male or female correspondent. You're enough is just one person.
I
But
think
at the same
it's-
time, I think like you should be able to embrace masculinity and femininity and not be vilified for it.
I think, and you're going to go next. Here's what I think. We can all be okay. Like, you are good wearing a skirt. I'm okay wearing this black shirt. I'm going to do this and you're going to do this. And I'm not going to make you feel scared for your life. I promise you that. I don't think that most people who say they're scared for their life really are scared. So just be you and be you quietly, like the rest of us kind of are. And just be, right?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just stay in your lane and mind your own damn business.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard.
It's not that hard. Just live your life, let other people live their lives, and keep your goddamn mouth shut.
And you, as a freaking defense attorney who deals with so much bullshit on a daily basis, which I can't even freaking imagine, you go home and you're like this. How do you
But
deal
you know
with
you
that?
leave work at work. You leave work at work.
Do you?
You do. And you
Okay.
know
So
what?
You don't do any homework at home.
You know what? I broke my own rules for Tim.
Because I was going to
Well,
say,
that's pretty big stuff.
This is different. Like, you had a different experience from our last guest when he said, you know, I went home and I turn off, or like,
I
do
go
whatever.
home and I'm making chicken nuggets and I'm doing bath
kid.
time and
Yeah.
I'm watching Cat in the Hat and
Yep.
doing whatever else
Are
a
you
5-year-old wants to do. I'm not looking
reading?
at my trial notes.
Okay.
You know, I'm not looking at what happened the day before. I'm not looking necessarily at what's
God
coming
bless
up
you.
on the next day.
When did you
When
read
I'm
this?
home, when did I do what?
This. So right here in our
Oh,
slideshow in the
shit.
back,
Okay.
there are
Yeah, we wanted to
messages
talk about
going
that.
and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So like
Yeah.
that kind of plays on home life. When did you
So I started receiving private messages immediately after the verdict.
did you read them right away, or did you
I read them as they came in, and what was really fascinating about the majority of them is that they attributed the outcome and my performance not only to my gender, but to the fact that I supported Donald Trump in the last election. And that what was really fascinating was that I'm a Trumper makes sense.
Yes.
And that was kind of like the overall thing is I had so much respect for you until I saw that you supported Donald Trump. Or I had so much respect for you until I saw that you retweeted something that O.J. Simpson tweeted on the Alex Murdoch
You
trial,
lost your
which was
entire-
hilarious, by the way.
You lost all your credibility,
All my
all of it.
yeah.
So politics are now playing a part in
Well, when it comes
murder
to this,
crime.
yeah, that's why I sucked, and that's why he lost, is because I supported Donald Trump in
that
the
makes
last
sense.
election.
Okay.
A lot of nasty grams, and you know, I didn't not expect it, but
That's got to be hard. Like coming the next day.
what made it
to
hard was that
work.
when I went into this trial, I went into it knowing that there was nothing else that I could have done from a preparation standpoint, that I was fully prepared. I had done my due diligence. And so going into that trial, I felt like there was nothing else that I could have done better. And so from a preparation standpoint, I didn't want to look back on this and have regrets. And I have no regrets as I
Good.
sit here today.
Good. That I like to hear that.
Okay, that does bring about, and I'm sorry we're taking this a little bit longer, but so that brings about another question. So one of the things that I have always wondered, we had Josh Jones, okay, he's like a prosecutor, which I think would be easier maybe.
It's easy to go into a fight when you're set up to win.
There you
It's
go.
really hard to go into a
you.
fight set up for you to lose.
Okay, so when you are a defense attorney and
Essentially
ever-
defending the bad guy.
all right,
But
have you ever gone into a case knowing either psychologically or investigatively, whatever you call that they are guilty? And what is your ethical boundary, or what is your like Kate? How do you
not pertaining to this
Yeah,
case.
not-
General
no, not
pertaining to
Bliefnick,
this
As a
case. This is
general-
a very general question.
level?
I don't care if they did it or not. I don't ask if they did it or not, because quite frankly, at the end of the day,
can't.
it doesn't matter.
You're there
What
to do a
matters is
job.
what the evidence shows and what I can do with that evidence. And sometimes I can do something with it, and sometimes I can't.
All right.
But as an attorney, I cannot change facts.
100%. Can I ask you one solid question? If I were to do something really, really bad, and I came to you as my defense attorney, and I said, well, I did it. are you still morally obligated, ethically obligated to defend me?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, it's not
But
good.
here's the
really
thing:
fucking
it's
cool.
a constitutionally protected right, and it's a
Yes.
constitutionally protected job that all Americans enjoy. And I think that's something that everybody misunderstands or just doesn't know. I'm not up there defending murder.
Yeah.
Defense attorneys are not up there defending
It's a jury.
rape.
It's a
We are
jury.
defending our client and our
Yes.
client's constitutional rights.
Yes.
It's not my job. It's not any defense attorney's job
I love
to
you.
prove an alternative theory or to prove that he's innocent or to prove that something else happened. It is the state's job. It is their burden. It's not mine.
Which you said that in your closing many times.
I love-
You
so
said this is
sorry.
your burden, and this is your job too.
And
at
that's
this
one
point
of the
in time.
fun
Do
things
you
about
think-
being a defense attorney is that it's not my job to prove anything, but to throw monkey wrenches in the wheels
yeah,
of
that's
justice.
all it is.
And that's what it is. Let's be real. You want to
And-
have real talk, that's what being a defense attorney
100%,
is.
sister. And I think that today, no one thinks that the wheels of justice are turning without crookedness.
Absolutely.
So, I think this has been. Oh, I would love to have you on more. I have so many questions, but
I do.
Okay, one more, and this will. Sorry, but okay. How do you feel about the general idea, feminism? Where do you stand? Do you consider yourself?
I don't identify personally as a feminist.
Okay.
I think I probably hold a lot of ideals that are aligned with feminist ideals, but I think that really depends on how you identify a feminist. You know?
Yes.
And, you know, is that somebody that wants to fight for female equality? Sure. Yeah, I'm a feminist. Is that somebody that just wants to, you know, downplay and diminish masculinity? No, I am not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm for everybody having an equal playing field, whether that is a man or a woman or you're transgender or anything. I think everybody needs an equal playing field. And quite frankly, I've been a female attorney in Adams County since 2011. This case is the first time that I have felt like my gender has come into play at all.
Which
the
I wanna
first
bring
time
that
that
up.
my tattoos have come into play.
We can't
at
stop
all.
without that. So
Yeah,
Court
we
TV,
gotta talk about it. Yeah.
Court TV. I was in here watching on the couch as David had the Court TV up here, and like in between the different like
the closing arguments
yes,
and the
and
verdict.
we
yeah.
were waiting, and I cannot believe half the things that I heard during it. I think I even snapped half of it because I was just in appalling, like I was appalled. I can't believe that there was one man on there. I don't know what his name was, but like, I mean, he was.
Was this the guy who looked like Big Joe?
Yep.
Go.
I mean, I love Big Joe, but like, so
Big Railroad Joe?
yeah.
Yep.
So he's up there and he's talking about your appearance and like what you said, the tattoos or what you were wearing and this, and this. And at that point in time, I'm like, this hits close to home. Why would a man care for one?
Let alone
If you-
analyze.
If you are not her dad, you know, if you are not
husband.
her husband or partner that kind of has a say so,
Even so.
which even so, but then again, I'm not going
not
to
okay with
Shut
that either.
your mouth.
yeah, like I'm not going to totally, you know, we're a partnership ish. I'm not going to wear my
You don't dictate what I wear to
my
work.
F Joe Biden shirt to your family reunion, you know, a little, you know, you're just going to wear it. You don't care.
If anybody ever says you're not going to wear that, I'm
Then I'm
totally
wearing it.
fucking
In
wearing
spades.
it.
Okay,
In
okay.
spades.
So if it's not that or your boss that's giving you directional wardrobe and you're a man commenting on another woman's wardrobe.
Or a woman.
Or anybody's wardrobe for that.
I guess, I don't know, Joan Rivers, it kind of has a job on the red carpet to do whatever.
Yeah,
I
but
know
what
it
a
might be-
shitty
But can I
thing.
say-
It is, but
So
like fashionistas
I've
have
been
a
an
job
attorney
now.
in Quincy since 2011.
And you've never...
Never. This is the first time I felt like I was marginalized as
profile.
a female. Never has a local attorney or judge or court security officer or clerk or anybody else for that matter ever commented negatively on my tattoos
or what I wore to court. And let's talk about my tattoos for a second. That was a calculated decision to show my
100%.
tattoos.
Also to show your
and I didn't show my tattoos until I saw that there were jurors that were walking into court showing their tattoos.
Yeah.
And
Which
so
is
I'm
a
like, well,
calculated
maybe
decision
that
as
will
well.
make me
Yeah.
more relatable.
Yeah.
Maybe that will make me more like a person instead of an attorney. And at the end of the day, they're mine and they're part of me, and I didn't get them to cover them up.
Exactly.
And so
what do your tattoos? Do you want to talk about them at all?
so they don't really have any special
That's how
meaning.
I am too. When everyone's like,
they're just pretty. They're just
When
pretty,
everyone's
and I
like,
like the art, and I
love
wanted them
that.
displayed on my
I love
body,
that.
and they have zero significance. I
like that. When everyone says that.
But never have I seen a male attorney
Get under,
be, criticized for
Under
his
the
suit
microscope.
or his hair.
He did
or
say, I'm sorry, but like our last guest said, he
Josh Jones is his name.
had.
He was scrutinized for being lurch.
Do you think like that was?
That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not a fair comparison.
That's not equal.
I mean, I didn't read all the comments. I didn't read
I
all
didn't
of the
either.
articles. I gave my
But I'll tell
totally,
you,
I
Mom,
put it away.
well, I
and,
did too.
so I don't necessarily know what all
I'll
the
tell you
comments
what
were. I
Wade
know
and
there
what
were
didn't.
comments about my facial expressions, my tattoos, and what I wore. And my parents told me, you never make fun of somebody for the way that they look or the way that they dress. And I dressed the way that I dressed, and I looked the way that I looked, and I performed the way that I performed, and that's me, and take it or leave it.
I love
Tim
that.
knew what he was getting with me. He knew that he was getting an outspoken woman with tattoos that wasn't going to cover them up.
Yes.
And I'm not going to dilute myself for anybody.
And at the end of the day,
It doesn't
fucking
matter.
hired you.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, it shouldn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Well, I think that people that have an opinion.
When was the last time you saw a male attorney criticized for his suit or his
Never.
hair or his actions?
Did you
in
know
court?
that the top 10 billionaires, the top 10 richest people in the world are all men?
Did you? How many? How many
Why do
female?
you just have to stab
okay, so
this
how many
female?
female?
I'm just saying.
How many
I'm just saying, we got
high-profile
work to do,
female attorneys
sisters.
Can you name?
Huh?
How many high-profile female attorneys can you name compared to men? I can name Marsha Clark and the lady that represented Johnny Depp.
I don't know any
can't,
names.
And I always, like, if we talk about female attorneys in town, you're the first name that I say.
But I will say, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Even negative comments. Thanks.
Yeah.
bitches.
I mean, you're talking.
Thanks. Because if you are irrelevant, that's
Nobody's
a bad
talking. That's-
thing, right? So if you are relevant, sister, you got shit going on.
Well, and if people are talking, you're doing something right.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I can tell you both, as much negative as I got out of this, I got a shit ton of positive out of
Absolutely.
it too.
All right.
I was getting emails from people in Seattle, from all across the country, very positive. So as much negative that came out of it, there was positive too.
Yes, sister. Okay,
Good.
I'm gonna wrap this up. I think, unless you have more questions, we all know that Tim is appealing,
Yeah. We have to,
As would anybody.
right?
in
Yeah.
his
Of course.
position.
Okay. So, what do you think, or what do you know?
or
The
can
grounds,
tell us.
or can tell us, yeah, the grounds for an appeal.
So we've filed our post-trial motion. That's available publicly. It's available for publish.
Okay.
The big points that we're hitting on our post-trial motion are all of the hearsay statements that came in. You had all of these people come in over and over and over again. If anything happens to me, Tim did it.
Right.
And then you have the Google searches that came in, what he searched, but without any reference for, with when.
Timing.
And I know Josh kind of spoke on that, and I know Quincy Police have spoke on that they kept the investigation quiet and they didn't release any details. But that doesn't mean that we didn't have any details and that we weren't getting information. Before Tim was arrested, he knew that she was shot. He knew that her house was broken into. And so the fact that he was making that those searches were made on that computer is not all that surprising. But, at the end of the day, they left the jury speculating. And, that's something for the appellate court to consider. But at the end of the day, those are the three big those are the big points that we're hitting that. And there were references that were made to Tim being this Hall of Fame football player,
Yeah.
that was referenced in closing arguments, that wasn't referenced in evidence. So, he is hopeful with the appeal, and that's the only hope that he has right now. He has to have faith in the process. That's the only hope he has at this point.
Yeah. So will you continue to be his counsel?
So I will be his attorney up until the time sentencing is over.
Okay.
It's sentencing due to the fact that all of his assets have been frozen, and he has nothing. We're going to ask that he be declared indigent and that the appellate defender's office take the appeal over from there. And that's something that we've talked to him about at length, and given the technicality of the appeal and the fact that it is a very detailed law-specific appeal and not just this fact-specific appeal, that the appellate court is going to be in a position where they need to decide if they want to make law or not, and if they want to expand Drew Peterson to a territory that they may not have originally intended when they first made that law.
Now, do you have constant, so after a trial is done, do you have communication with him? Have you seen him?
I have seen him.
How's he
I have
doing?
contact with him. He can text me. He can call me.
We heard that.
Isn't that crazy that you
he's
can
got
text?
a phone or
He
something.
have
He has a phone in the Adams County Courthouse.
Like,
yeah,
do he do all of them?
I
like,
think they
are
have the
allowed?
right to pay for it if they have access.
So,
But
like,
he
if you
has
have it
this
in
cell
commissary?
phone, he keeps it in his pocket. He can text and he can call and he can arrange visits.
Interesting jail life.
Very interesting jail life. Life in the Department of Corrections will be a lot different
Yeah.
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 for him.
So do you have constant communication with him?
I
or are
could
you
if I
like-
wanted to.
okay.
Yeah. I take mail over to him almost daily.
Okay.
Okay.
I could text him right now if I wanted
Yeah.
to. I could go over to the jail and talk to him right now if I wanted to. But, from a personal standpoint, that's what kind of makes this hard.
Oh, see, I wouldn't be able to
is
do it.
that, I've been working with him for all of this time, and it's like, dude, I never saw this coming. It was
Yeah.
never a thing where, anybody would have predicted that anything like this would have ever happened.
And then after the fact, it's like, well, where do
do
I
I do now?
stand? And how do I not f things up? Because that's where we are. We're like, we want to
we
ask
were
you
like,
so many
we're
questions.
We're treading
but we don't want to
lightly.
screw anything up because we're like, yes, of course. I'll say it again. Becky is gone. That's very, very unfortunate. Tim, that's unfortunate that he was found guilty. I'm not saying...
At the end of the day, it's a really sad.
Which is
outcome.
unfortunate for the whole.
Whether he was
the whole
found
family.
guilty or not guilty, sad.
Yeah.
Sad for
It's
our
so sad.
community.
Yes.
Yeah. Very sad. Okay. I think we've gone through a lot of information. I hope that we didn't overstep our bounds. You've been a great guest.
I hope that you
I
come
hope you'll
back.
come back.
I hope you have me back.
Because I
would
like
love to have you
I
back.
worthwhile to talk about.
I think just our female empowerment is worthwhile to talk
Do you
about.
think this was? Are you happy with the way
No,
this shook out?
No, I'm
Good.
excited because here's the everybody asks me, do you feel marginalized as a female attorney? And by and large, I have never, ever, ever, ever felt like I was, ever have been cut out.
in this or prior to this?
Prior to this,
all of
I
it?
never felt like my gender had anything to do with the way I did
But
business.
now,
why?
but now it's different.
'Cause you're a badass bitch.
But
I think the national media is much less accepting of somebody in my position than we are locally. And, props to you, Quincy and Adams County and anybody else that's listening for, accepting somebody in that position. But I just don't think, some
I don't think it's
people aren't
real.
ready for that.
Well, I just don't think it's real. I think that there are
I'm not-
made up arguments up here, but
And
if
then
you
there's the
look
facts
locally,
down here.
Yeah, and then you look locally and you're like, okay, this is real. Yeah, it's not. It's like transgender. Yes, that's a big thing, but it's not really hitting us super hard. So let's not focus on it. Also, feminism. Yes, we want to be
strong,
I just don't
empowering
feel like
females, but we're not trying to kick our men to the curb, man.
I feel like people in Quincy still open the door for me.
yeah, same.
Men, yeah. So I'm not gonna. The minute they don't, boys,
You're gonna hear about it.
That's right. That's right. All right, sister.
I
thank
mean,
you
I'll still take a drink. I'll still take a free drink
Amen.
too.
See,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. We're not discounting all of it. Like we want to be feminist to a point of
And I'll buy my own drink too if I have to. And I'll buy the guy a drink too if he needs
same,
one.
all the time.
but
do
I
it all the
still
time.
want my door held.
I want my cake and I'm gonna eat it too.
Boom. All right, sisters. This has been freaking amazing.
Cheers.
I love you girls. Let's
Love
come back and
you.
do another
Yes.
one. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. On that note, we'll see See you next time.